Objektif utama kemahiran menembak termasuklah untuk menentukan setiap anggota memahami dan mahir di dalam pengendalian senjata, menentukan anggota berpotensi dalam kemahiran menembak serta meningkat keyakinan diri dalam pengendalian senjata dan peluru hidup.
We're going to talk about loading magazines the right way. I've seen a lot of different ways on the range. It costs you time, it costs you mistakes. What we're going to do is eliminate time and mistakes. Alright, the support hand does everything to help load the magazine while the shooting hand does the delivering of the rounds into the magazine. You're going to hold the magazine with your support hand, your thumb is going to remain free. Your thumb is going to actually help you suppress this spring because it gets really tight, to assist with this hand putting the new rounds in. Your shooting hand has the ammo between the index and the middle finger. You're going to feel where the back end of the bullet is and where the projectile is. If it's backwards, this will give you an indication, especially with the thumb, so you don't put the bullet in backwards. Always use index and middle finger with the thumb. First round comes in, you're going to line it up. Watch the wings. You want to get before the wings. Line it up, push down with your thumb, slide it over. That's it. Now your support thumb is going to actually start helping you. The support thumb pushes down the round. Here's my index, middle finger, here's my thumb, get the next round before the range, slide it in. I'm done. You keep going with the same process, always like a blind man's feel. You never want to really know what you're doing because you got to keep scanning your surrounding areas if there's another attack coming at you. By doing it this way, you could actually guarantee yourself that the rounds are putting in correctly, and at the same time, you're allowing yourself time to scan the areas. Notice how my support thumb pushes down, depresses the spring, my right thumb slides it over right before the wings. A common mistake that I find on the range, a lot of guys are going to go right by the projectile, and they're going to try to slide this bullet in, but you know what really happens is that they're making a lip on the casement. That lip is now going to cause you a problem. Make sure you get after the casement, push down after, slide over. Another common thing that a lot of people don't do is tapping their magazine. It's not a movie thing, it's not just because people want to act cool. There's a reason why you want to tap these magazines. As these bullets went down the side, they're not lined properly against the back wall. Now listen for this. Notice how the first tap you heard stuff, now in the second and third tap, even now, there's nothing moving in there. And that explains that, or tells me, all the bullets back end are lined up with the primer were supposed to be exactly lined up. If the bullets were crisscrossed in the magazine, it won't load into the barrel properly and you may get another misfeed. My name is Frank Shaka and we are Defense Academy LLC. For more information, you can call me 407-921-9193.
Hello, I'm Larry and this is Carter's Country. With a record number of gun buyers that we've seen in the past 2 years, first-time gun buyers I should say, we're going to do a video about just the very basics. And the first one we're going to do is about loading a magazine. You know, magazines, especially your higher capacity magazines, you get down towards the end and it can be pretty punishing on the tip of your thumb. We're going to talk about a couple of devices that'll help you get past that. But first, we're just going to start with some loading basics without a device. Now, for most of you, especially if you're in my age group, you learned one way to load a magazine, and that's by hand. Let me just show you a little bit, again, just some basics about how to do that. If you can see here on the magazine, you've got a little lip here and a little lip here. What you do with a good grip on the magazine, push the round down. You just get it just under the lip there, and then just push back. And it's pretty simple, especially at the start. You just go next one down, under the lip, push it back. Now when you're loading these magazines, your ammunition should be kind of angled up as you're loading. That's the proper way for it to go in. This is a Glock magazine. You can see here on the back, it has little holes and numbers here so you can look and tell how many rounds you've loaded in case you forget. A lot of magazines will have holes on the side, but that's a good way in case you get called away, phone rings, something happens, you come back, you're not sure how many's in it. Most magazines will have a quick, easy way for you to tell. If you're new to all this, little rule of thumb, something to make it easy for beginners. If you set the magazine down flat on the table, you want it leaning forward. Your ammunition, the back of the round, will be at the back of the magazine. If you think about it, the handle of most any semi-automatic firearm has a forward lean to it, so it only makes sense that you're looking for the magazine to be the same way. You take your first round, you push it in, you get just under those little lips right there. You see it's held in place. You just push the round all the way back in, and then you just keep doing that until the magazine's full. It's pretty easy. Under the lip, slide it back, and you just keep on for the 10, 15 rounds, whatever capacity your magazine is. Next, we're going to talk about a couple of things that you can use to help make this a little easier. If you've ever loaded a magazine, you know when you get down to those last 2 or 3 rounds, that spring in that magazine is really, really tight, and it can get pretty punishing on your end of your thumb, trying to push down hard enough to get that round under the lips of the magazine. Okay, this is a Glock magazine here. A lot of times your pistol will come with a speed loader or load assist in the box with the gun. This one came with the Glock 19 Gen 5. This is a really simple one to use. What you do is it slides over the magazine like that. I'm gonna turn it to where you can kind of see what's going on there. Okay, and the way you'll use this, you slide this over. You've got a little notch hanging down there that will compress the magazine glide down for you. You put your round in far enough to be under the lips of the magazine, and then you push it back. And then you just keep repeating that with each round. Push it down, get this just far enough in, take the pressure off, push the round back. I'm gonna try to turn it and do it this way so you can maybe see it better in the camera. This goes down, the round goes in, lift it up, and just push the round back. With a little bit of practice, this is really fast to do. It is so much easier on your thumb. Trust me, if you're gonna go to the range and you're gonna be shooting a lot and you're gonna be reloading magazines all day, you will absolutely want to use some sort of load assist, whether your gun comes with one or you go buy one to get that done. This is made by a company called Uplula. This one will fit a variety of different pistols. It works a little bit different in that it goes to the front with the little tongue there that suppresses the round down. But it's the same general principle. It's trying to save your hand. If you've shopped with us at Carter's Country before, then you've probably seen one of these here. This Uplula is kind of the Cadillac of the load assist or speed loader. It's really, really easy, not only on your hands, but again, it's saving your thumb from some sheer misery if you're trying to load a full magazine. The way this one works, you squeeze forward, all the way forward, you press down, you get the round in there, then you release this, it clears the round, and then you're ready for the next one. So there's really nothing else to do other than guide the round in. The Uplula does everything else for you. Now this one, because it does have a little bit of moving parts where the other one didn't, it does take a little bit more practice, but I assure you, once you get familiar with this, once you get comfortable with this, you will not believe how fast you can get a magazine loaded. Not only fast, but pain-free. Again, you just let it release it so it clears, and then you just grab the next round and you can keep going. And even in a high capacity magazine like this Glock, you can load all 15 rounds fast, no stress on your hands, which, you know, if you're out there shooting all day, you want your hands basically focusing on your grip and your technique and not having to favor a thumb tip that's bloody or bruised because you've been trying to force that 14th and 15th round in there all day. Okay, well, I hope this has helped some of you if you've never tried to use a load assist before, or if you're a new gun owner and just haven't gotten the hang of loading a magazine yet. And also, if you know someone who just got their first gun, be sure and share this video with them. Another thing, if they just got their first gun, share this video with them, and this will make a great stocking stuffer, and they are available at all our Carter Country locations. Hope this helped. We're going to continue to walk through videos with our first-time gun owners in mind, try to take you through this, help you feel more comfortable and more satisfied with your purchase, and feel better and more responsible as a gun owner. Remember, if you've ever shot or hunted with us, then you're already a part of the Carter's Country family. Till next time, adios. I don't know, I feel like I'm stumbling through it because I've never really used one of these things. Up-Lula does everything else for you. Okay. So the way this one works, you squeeze forward, press. Everything's good.
You know, one of the most amazing things about working in Carter's Country is that I get paid to do things like what I'm about to do. It was hard to get through that without laughing. There's nothing like the smell of gunpowder and the feel of recoil to get my blood pumping.
It's like, how much practice does that take?
I was going to get to that part. Y'all cut me off right at the knees. No. Jeez.
Let the man create. He's acting his ass off here.
I stand corrected now. Let me go with the many more purposes of this firearm right now.
Yeah. I really wish y'all could see some of the outtakes, but trust me, you really can't.
Quick video demonstrating how quick and easy it is to unload 15 rounds of 9mm loot from a magazine. A Glock one at that. See? Empty. There you go.
Hi, my name is Pete with Allen's Arsenal, and I'm here today to talk to you about one of the more important fundamentals of pistol shooting. We're going to go ahead and cover grip. With grip, myself being a right-handed shooter, and I understand with everything I'm about ready to say, not everybody is physically the same. So with what I'm about ready to show you, I understand not everybody can physically hold the pistol exactly the same. You can make adjustments to it, and you'll understand more what I'm talking about as I go along. So when you go to hold a pistol, what you would want to do is hold it as high as you possibly can. If you could truly get behind the barrel, that would be the best, but what would happen is the slide would come back and injure yourself. So we're trying to get as high as possible. Take your hand, go ahead and shove it up as high as you possibly can behind the back strap of the firearm, okay? And take your 3 lower fingers, come around to the bottom, just like that, and you notice how much I'm picking up the grip with my right hand. This, of course, being a Glock 19. Bring your 3 lower fingers around the bottom, take your non-firing hand, taking it and rotating it to where your lower part of your knuckle to your wrist is parallel with the slide, and come along, bring your thumb, put it along somewhere on the frame, not to where it's going to get injured by the slide as it moves. Take your other lower fingers and bring them around. You can take your thumb and either set it off on the top of your firing hand or bring it around to the outside. You don't want your thumb up top laying next to the slide to where it might get injured by the slide as it moves. Also, you don't want it resting on the slide lock, so that way when you come to an empty magazine, the slide will actually lock back to the rear. Notice right now how much of the grip that I am holding of the pistol. It is totally encompassed as much as possible. There's no spot for gaps or anything like that in this area. And you'll notice even after I set the firearm down, how my hands are shaped. I understand that this is not a natural position, as when we all grew up playing cops and robbers, things like that, we all ran around doing exactly this right here. What I'm actually showing you is to take that non-firing hand, put it on an angle. It is unnatural, but it is going to give you a more stable firing platform while you're gripping the firearm. Of course, while you're gripping the firearm, the applied pressure should be from the front of the firearm to the back, squeezing it together, and then on the sides, equal pressure on the sides as well. So that way you're not over pushing forward, pushing the gun down, pulling back, or pushing too little on either side to where the gun might move side to side while pulling back on the trigger. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you.
Welcome to a new UF Pro series. I'm Rick Crawley with Achilles Heel Tactical, and today we're going to be teaching pistol fundamentals from the ground up. Over the coming episodes, we're going to be teaching the 7 fundamentals, building a shooter from the ground up. Furthermore, we'll go over topics such as sight alignment, trigger control, drawing from an outside the waistband holster, reloading, and identifying and clearing malfunctions. So building it from the ground up, starting with stance. Stance needs to be a natural athletic platform. Nobody's going to stand toe-to-toe in a gunfight with you, just like you're not going to stand toe-to-toe with somebody that's about to tackle you. You need to be able to absorb and mitigate recoil, absorb and mitigate force. So with that stance, we want our stance to be about shoulder width apart, legs offset or feet offset from each other, and we want to load that front non-dominant side leg. When I say load, we're just loading that front quadricep, bringing the patella or the kneecap towards the toe. By doing this, we're loading the balls of our feet and now isolating the lower from the upper extremity. So, posture. Outside of stance, I incorporate in a subcategory posture. Posture is seen from a center line or seen from the hips up. So the center line with our spine, if you take my ear to the shoulder to my holster down to my rear leg, it all needs to be in an aggressive posture towards the target. As I draw and present to this target, I am aggressive in posture, isolated, and with good posture towards the target or objective area. All right, moving into grip. Everyone's heard of the 60-40 bullshit, the percentages on which you're applying pressure to the gun. Now, if you don't think that this is bullshit, look to the left and to the right of you, or ask a range buddy, or ask your wife, or ask somebody next to you to shake your hand at 40%. Then shake your other hand at 60%. We as human beings cannot quantify these percentages of pressures, so now we want to strictly focus on ergonomics and where we can take up the most real estate on the frame of this gun. So as I grip this pistol, I want a high tang grip with that dominant side hand. Also, I want to establish immediate strength because the grip I start with is the grip I'm going to finish with. Now, immediate strength, that is not me muscling the gun, but that is relying on leverage on this gun. So by taking up that high tang of the grip and establishing grip pressures, my grip pressure starts with the pinky.
What I want you guys to do is turn and look at the guy to the left and the right of you, and I want you to shake his hand without the pinky, completely, no pinky involved. So no pinkies involved. Now the guy with no pinky incorporated into the grip, the guy that's just shaking his hand, you're gonna pull out of that grip. On 3, 1, 2, 3, pull right out. So now grip again, wrapping the pinky first. So what I'll do is I'll come in around to you guys. I'm gonna tell you to get away from my grip, all right? So without pinky. So you're wrapped on me and I don't have my pinky on you. I'm squeezing, and you say I am squeezing as hard as I possibly can probably. I'm white knuckling it, now get away. Pretty easy. Now, if I establish my pinky first within my shake, now get away. Different, right? As I come up, the pinky meets the gun first, wraps and rolls, and now I've got a position of dominance wrapped around this gun. Now I can take these 2 fingers off and keep good pinky pressure and keep this gun running flat because I've negated the room for the grip or the gun to now move, and I have good leverage on the lowest part of the gun.
Hi folks, and welcome to Attica Armory. We hope you enjoy this video. Please share your thoughts in the comments section and remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. A while back we did a video on rifle sight alignment using aperture sights like these. We'll leave a link to that video in the description if you're interested. We received some requests for a similar video for pistol sight picture. Ask and ye shall receive. This video will focus specifically on pistol sighting techniques using standard iron sights. We'll be covering 2 important sight pictures today. The first is a basic aimed shooting technique using the dominant eye only, with a hard focus on the front sight. This method is great for beginners who are new to shooting, as it is easier to master. It also works well for longer range precision shooting in a controlled environment. The second will be something commonly referred to as point shooting. It's performed with both eyes open and a hard focus on the target. This technique is very well suited for dynamic combat scenarios in uncontrolled environments, as it allows a broader field of view and improved situational awareness. Please note that we will do this demo in a right-handed configuration. If you are left-handed, your sight picture will be an opposite mirror image of what you see in a video. Let's start off with standard aimed shooting first. Close your left eye. We'll call this the weak eye, and use your right eye for aiming. We'll call that the dominant eye. Bring the gun up to the sight plane of the dominant eye and align the top of the front sight with the top of the rear sight. Make sure the front sight is directly in the center of the rear sight notch. Align the top center of your front and rear sights with the center of your target. Focus on the front sight. This will leave the rear sight and the target slightly blurry. This is what your final sight picture should look like. Place your finger on the trigger and slowly press it back to take up any slack. Take a deep breath and exhale. Then continue to squeeze the trigger at the natural pause at the bottom of your exhale. As you press the trigger to the rear, hold the gun steady and make sure the sights stay aligned until the cartridge ignites. As the trigger breaks and the cartridge fires, retain your focus on the front sight so you can quickly realign for your next shot. Release the trigger only until it clicks and resets, then repeat the process. Now, let's take a look at point shooting. Some point shooting techniques appear to ignore the sights entirely, instead relying on an instinctual and sometimes arbitrary natural pointing of the weapon, like when you ask your kid to pull your finger. We prefer to teach what we call a sight-enhanced point shooting method, as it still maintains the tactical benefits of point shooting, but adds the precision of standard aimed shooting. Keeping both eyes open, raise the gun up to the sight plane of your dominant eye. Now focus on the target instead of the front sight, and notice how you see 2 blurred images of the gun. The image in the center is the one from your dominant eye. That is the image you must train yourself to pay attention to. The slanted image off to the side is the image from your weak eye. That is the image you must train your brain to ignore. You can train yourself by putting masking tape over your shooting glasses on the weak eye, but keeping both eyes open while shooting. This will condition you to naturally bring the gun up to the strong eye's sight plane and teach your brain to further ignore the image from the weak eye. You must focus on the target when using both eyes open techniques. Otherwise, if you focus on the front sight, you will start seeing two blurry targets. While seeing double might sound like fun when you're on vacation at Mardi Gras, it sucks a big one when a bad guy is raining lead on your position. When you focus on the target and line your sights up dead center, this is what your enhanced point shooting sight picture should look like. Place your finger on the trigger and slowly press it back to take up any slack. Take a deep breath and exhale. Then continue to squeeze the trigger at the natural pause at the bottom of your exhale. As you press the trigger to the rear, hold the gun steady and make sure the sights stay aligned until the cartridge ignites. As the trigger breaks and the cartridge fires, retain your focus on the front sight so you can quickly realign for your next shot. Release your trigger only until it clicks and resets, then repeat the process. Remember, dry practice makes perfect. The best way to master proper shooting technique is to dry practice using an unloaded weapon. Always make sure your gun is unloaded and remove all live ammo from the immediate area. Find yourself a safe place to aim and choose a small target in a safe area to take aim at. Please note, the neighbor's cat is not an ideal target. Begin practicing with some slow, smooth trigger pulls while maintaining proper sight picture. Make sure you are not flinching or otherwise moving the gun before, during, or after the trigger breaks. This is a good time to work on controlled trigger resets as well. Stick with it a few times a week for a few months and you will be blown away at how much your live fire skills improve. And that about wraps it up, folks. Thanks for visiting Attica Armory, and we'll see you again next time.
Selamat pagi, kami akan memperagakan cara menembak pistol. Sebelum kita menembak pistol, yang harus kita persiapkan untuk safety adalah topi, airmap, dan kacamata. Menembak jarak 25 meter. Teknik memegang senjata. Peganglah senjata sesuai kenyamanan Anda. Tangan kanan memegang grip, genggam grip pistol dengan weapon hand secara penuh dan konsisten. Telunjuk mengarah ke depan sejajar dengan laras. Pelkan telapak tangan bagian kiri, jempol mengarah ke depan sejajar dengan laras. Lalu genggam dengan erat. Tubuh sedikit dibungkukkan. Pastikan ketika membidik target dan pergerakan Anda tidak terganggu. Bidiklah menggunakan mata dominan Anda. Sejajarkan bagian depan dan belakang pesisir dan penjara. Fokus mata Anda pada pistol. Tentukan titik sasaran. Konsentrasi, napas, bidik, tekan picu, tembak. Mata terfokus pada pemilik pistol, bukan pada target. Target harus sedikit kabur. Pembidik belakang dan depan terlihat jelas. Tembakan percobaan 3 butir peluru. Ini adalah magazen. Masukkan peluru satu persatu. Tekan, dorong. Selanjutnya tekan, dorong. Simpan magazen di kiri, senjata di kanan. Penembak siap. Senjata tangan kanan. Magazen tangan kiri. Masukkan magazen. Isi senjata. Menembak dengan jarak 25 meter. Terbidik. Tembak. Lepas magazen. Kosongkan senjata. Tembakan. Bantuan. Melakukan penekan. Menembak 3 butir peluru percobaan. Selesai.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, jumpa lagi di channel YouTube saya, Game Official. Siang ini kita akan belajar dasar-dasar menembak pistol bagi pemula. Hal yang harus kita perhatikan untuk menembak setelah kita memasuki lapangan, kita berdoa terlebih dahulu untuk keamanan diri kita dan rekan-rekan kita yang ada di lapangan. Berdoa menurut agama dan kepercayaan masing-masing. Berdoa mulai. Berdoa selesai. Setelah kita berdoa, kita ambil senjata, yakinkan senjata ini kosong dan aman. Kita tarik 2 kali ke belakang, lihat chambernya, baru kita tembakan ke depan atau ke posisi yang aman. Setelah kita yakin senjata ini kosong dan aman, kita letakkan. Baru kita perbaiki posisi kita. Posisi badan kita harus menghadap sasaran yang mau kita tembak, harus sejajar. Setelah badan kita sejajar sama sasaran yang mau kita tembak, kita pakai perlengkapan terlebih dahulu. Pakai kacamata, pakai peltor, baru ambil senjata. Untuk pegangan senjata, pada umumnya orang-orang biasa pakai dengan 2 cara. Bisa dengan ibu jari ada di depan, dan bisa juga ibu jarinya dikebelakangin. Sebetulnya sama aja, mau pakai yang mana juga. Yang paling penting untuk nembak pistol itu ada 2. Gambar bidik, sisir penjeranya ini sejajar, sama di tarikan picu pelan-pelan, atau triggernya nariknya lebih halus. Ya, kita ambil senjata, buka tangan kanan, dorong ke atas, yang 3 jari ke bawah, yang telunjuk ini masih di luar, yang dulu masuk ke trigger. Untuk tangan kiri kita tinggal rapat aja, rapat, taruh, tekan ke atas, tarik ke belakang. Kalau pegangan udah pas, udah nyaman, baru kita naik. Kita bidik, mata kiri kita tutup, mata kanan kita masuk ke pisir, penjara, baru sasaran. Kalau bisa, dua-duanya kebuka, bisa fokus, tidak jadi masalah. Dua-duanya kebuka juga mata kita, yang penting bisa fokus aja antara pisir, penjara, dan sasaran. Kita naik. Kalau bidikan kita udah ketemu, baru kita masuk ke trigger. Masuk ke trigger, sambil dipandang, kita remas trigger ini pelan-pelan. Setelah terjadinya ledakan, langsung telunjuk keluar. Kalau misalnya kita pegal di atas, kita istirahat terlebih dahulu. Tarik senjata, yang penting telunjuk di luar, laras ke depan. Kita ambil napas terlebih dahulu, relax dulu, nyantai dulu. Kalau udah nyaman, udah relax, udah nyantai, kita bidik lagi. Bidik lagi, yakinkan visir penjara ini sejajar. Baru kita masuk ke picu lagi. Tarik trigger pelan-pelan, halus, sambil dipandang, jangan sampai merem. Setelah terjadi letusan, telunjuk keluar. Ya, kita akan mempraktekkan cara menembak. Terlebih dahulu, kita masukin peluru ke magasin. Ambil senjata, telunjuk di luar, jangan dulu masuk. Pokoknya kalau kita boleh masuk setelah kita lurus, ngebidik, baru boleh masuk ke picu. Sampingin, masukin magasin, sampai bunyi, krak. Lurusin, kokang 1 kali. Setelah kita kokang, posisi peluru udah ada di chamber. Posisi udah siap nembak. Kita kunci terlebih dahulu. Naikin ke atas, kita pegangan pasin, buka kunci, baru kita mulai menembak. Ya. Setelah menembak, ini ke belakang, selain ini ke belakang, tandanya peluru habis. Kita lepas magasin, tekan tombol ini, lurusin, tarik 2 kali. Kita lihat chambernya. Kalau chambernya kosong, kita lepasin, tembakin ke posisi aman atau tanggul. Setelah kita selesai menembak, simpan senjata, taruh perlengkapan, baru kita lihat ke depan sasaran yang setelah kita tembak. Mungkin sekian dulu tutorial dasar-dasar menembak bagi pemula. Terima kasih banyak telah menonton video ini, semoga bermanfaat. Jangan lupa like, subscribe. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
How to do a function check on an H&K VP9 or VP9 SK. It's the same process. So after you clean your gun or take it apart and put it back together for any reason, H&K has a quick function check to make sure everything is put back together. First part of the function check is simply to wrap the slide. Make sure the slide goes back and forth without binding or getting stuck at any point. And the second check is a firing pin check. We're just going to double check there's no magazine in the gun and no round in the chamber. And then when we let the slide back in, we should be able to see the firing pin, the red firing pin right there. So now what we're going to do is point the gun in a safe direction, and we're going to press the trigger, and we're going to hold it back after we press it. Now we should not be able to see the firing pin. The firing pin has been released. And while continuing to hold the trigger, wrap the slide once. You should be able to see the firing pin again. And then slowly release the trigger, and you should feel it reset. Alright, and the final test is to take an empty magazine, load it into the gun, and simply rack the slide, and the slide should lock back on an empty magazine. So that's the entire function check that's in the VP9 manual from H&K. There's one additional check I like to do to make sure it's going to extract and eject. I get some 9mm dummy rounds or whatever caliber you're using. I simply put anywhere from 3 to 5 dummy rounds into the magazine. All right, got 5 rounds in the magazine. Gonna load it into the gun. Now it has chamber, make sure it's chambered around. I'm simply going to rack the slide 5 times briskly, simulating the firing of the gun, and each time I do that, it should extract and eject one of the dummy rounds, and on the last 5th stroke, it should lock back on the empty magazine. So simply, perfect. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, or at least hit the like button below, and I appreciate your support.
Jangan halalkan senjata kepada manusia. Pastikan peluru dikeluarkan dari senjata sebelum menyerahkan kepada orang lain. Lakukan cekah selamat. Halalkan senjata ke tempat yang selamat. Clear, Safety, MPTE. Sekian, terima kasih. Like, share dan subscribe.